What if I told you the U.S. Air Force just spent $7.8 billion turning the world's deadliest fighter jet into something that by all rights shouldn't exist? Enemy pilots are calling it impossible. Military analysts are stunned. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why America's rivals are genuinely terrified. Because just last month, footage that had been classified for years finally leaked. And it proves this aircraft can pull off maneuvers that break the very laws of physics. Stay with me. Here's the backdrop. China's J-20 stealth fighter rolled out faster than anyone expected. Russia's Su-57 began showing up in live combat zones. For the first time since World War II, America's air dominance, something we all took for granted, was suddenly under threat. But here's what almost nobody knows. The Pentagon saw this coming years ago. Instead of waiting decades and spending hundreds of billions on an all-new aircraft, they quietly prepared the ultimate counter-move, transforming their existing monster into something beyond imagination. And before we dive deeper, let me throw a question at you. Why were only 187 F-22 Raptors ever built? The answer isn't what you think, and it sets the stage for everything you're about to discover. With the 2025 upgrade package now rolling out across the fleet, the Raptor is becoming something so advanced that some experts argue it shouldn't even be legal under international law. Exaggeration? Or the most shocking leap in aerial warfare this century? Let's find out. For decades, the F-22 Raptor was untouchable. It was the ace up America's sleeve, the jet that no rival dared challenge head-on. But the battlefield has changed. China stunned the world when its J-20 stealth fighter rolled off production lines years ahead of schedule. Russia's Su-57 started appearing in combat zones from Syria to Ukraine. Suddenly, U.S. air dominance, unchallenged since World War II, was under fire. And here's the chilling truth. While America still had the edge, Pentagon strategists knew it wouldn't last. Building a brand new jet would take 20 years and cost hundreds of billions. By then, the advantage would be gone. So the Air Force made a radical choice. Don't build something new. Transform what they already had, the Raptor, into a machine so advanced it could wipe out the competition before it even began. But how exactly do you take the most lethal fighter ever created and make it unstoppable? Have you ever wondered why the US built just 187 F-22 Raptors and then shut down the production line? Most people assume it was because of cost overruns or technical flaws. The reality is far more shocking. Congress didn't cancel the Raptor because it was too expensive. They canceled it because the Air Force itself admitted the F-22 was too advanced, too classified, and too dangerous to mass produce. This jet was so far ahead of its time that even America wasn't ready to unleash it at scale. Think about that. A machine so lethal, so secret, that Washington decided the world simply couldn't handle more of them. And that was the old version, before the recent $7.8 billion transformation. Which raises the obvious question. If the original F-22 was already considered too dangerous, what does that make the upgraded one? The rebirth of the Raptor began in 2023 with a single audacious question. What if we took the most lethal fighter jet ever built and made it unstoppable? That question triggered a wave of contracts and secret projects. RTX Corporation secured a $1 billion deal to develop next-generation sensor suites. Thales engineered revolutionary helmet-mounted displays, turning every pilot into a human weapon system. Pratt & Whitney pushed their legendary F119 engines beyond what engineers once thought was physically possible. But the most shocking part, there's an upgrade that the Pentagon still won't officially admit exists. Evidence suggests the Raptor now carries a classified capability so disruptive, enemy pilots describe it as facing the impossible. And these weren't minor tweaks. They turned the Raptor into something new entirely. An aircraft that can literally see through its own skin, lock onto threats from any direction, and strike targets even behind the pilot. Imagine Superman with X-ray vision and the ability to fire lasers from his eyes. The result isn't just an upgrade, it's an evolution, a rebirth, a monster the world thought it would never see again. But what makes this new Raptor so untouchable? To answer that, we need to start with the one thing that terrifies every enemy commander. It's stealth. Stealth isn't new. Every modern fighter claims it. But the Raptor's upgraded stealth takes it to a level that feels more like sorcery than science. Here's the number that will haunt enemy commanders for the next 40 years. 0.0001 square meters. That's the F-22's radar cross-section, smaller than a steel marble. On radar screens, most jets look like a blazing spotlight. The Raptor, it's a firefly, if fireflies were invisible and carried death from above. How does it achieve this? Nearly 40% of the airframe is made from composite materials layered with titanium, scattering radar waves like light striking a shattered mirror. Every rivet is flush. Every seam is aligned to the millimeter. And then there's the classified radar-absorbing coating, so secret that only 7 people on Earth know the full formula. When that coating is damaged, elite repair teams are dispatched within hours. Their work is so precise, so mysterious, pilots joke it's closer to alchemy than engineering. The result? Enemy pilots describe it like being stalked by a ghost. They know something is out there. They can feel it watching them. But their instruments show nothing until the missile lock warning screams in their cockpit. Even infrared seekers are fooled. Exhaust nozzles redirect heat signatures so perfectly that sensors which should detect jet engines from 50 miles away see nothing but cold air. And with the latest software update, the stealth coatings no longer fade under extreme heat, freezing cold, sand, or salt spray. Rain or shine, the Raptor remains invisible. That's not just engineering, it's psychological warfare. But stealth is only half the nightmare, because when the Raptor decides to strike, it brings something even more terrifying. Speed that makes physics optional. Raw speed alone doesn't make the Raptor terrifying. It's how that speed is used. The upgraded F-22 can hit Mach 2.25. That's nearly 1,500 miles per hour, faster than a rifle bullet. But here's the real killer, super cruise. While other fighters need massive afterburners to break the sound barrier, lighting up enemy sensors like a Christmas tree, the Raptor can cruise at Mach 1.5 using normal engine power. That means it can streak across hostile airspace silently, invisibly, without leaving the glowing infrared trail that gives lesser jets away. To radar operators, the Raptor is gone before they even hear it coming. Quite literally, it arrives faster than its own sound waves. Each Pratt & Whitney F119 engine pumps out 35,000 pounds of thrust. Combined, that's more power than a locomotive. And with a thrust-to-weight ratio of 1.25, the Raptor can climb straight up like a rocket ship. Physics stops being a rule. It becomes a suggestion. And then there's range. With 18,000 pounds of internal fuel, the F-22 can penetrate 1,600 miles into enemy territory and still return home, while rival jets are scrambling for refueling tankers. In combat, fuel equals survival time. The Raptor has both. That's why U.S. commanders call it the ultimate first strike weapon. By the time enemy forces realize they're under attack, the Raptor is already gone, cruising home at supersonic speed. But speed is only the beginning, because when the Raptor decides to maneuver, it does things that shouldn't even be possible. Speed makes the Raptor lethal, but maneuverability makes it untouchable. At the heart of this monster are its two-dimensional thrust vectoring nozzles, able to deflect engine exhaust by up to 20 degrees in an instant. The result? The F-22 can pivot, flip, and twist through the sky in ways that make even veteran pilots feel like they're breaking reality. We're talking 9G maneuvers at full fuel load, pulling forces that would snap lesser airframes in half, all while carrying a full arsenal of weapons. Picture this: power loops, vertical climbs, high alpha turns at impossible angles. Enemy pilots say fighting the Raptor is like dueling lightning that learned how to think. The integrated flight control system translates those physics-defying moves into something that feels routine for the pilot. Controlled chaos in the sky. Missiles can't keep up. Traditional air defense systems fail. One moment the Raptor is a target. The next, it's flying sideways or climbing vertically out of reach. Enemy tracking computers choke on trajectories that simply shouldn't exist. And it's not just about surviving. These maneuvers allow the F-22 to position itself perfectly for the kill, turning dogfights into massacres. But if its flight performance is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when the Raptor finally opens its weapons bay. The Raptor doesn't just outfly its enemies, it outguns them. Hidden behind seamless bay doors lies an arsenal designed to dominate every range of combat. For close encounters, the AIM-9, X Sidewinder, turns the Raptor into a knife fighter, capable of striking at impossible angles. For beyond visual range kills, the AIM-120D3 AMRAAM extends the engagement envelope so far that enemy pilots never even know they've been targeted. And soon, the crown jewel, the AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile, a weapon so secret it was classified above top secret until recently. Once launched, an enemy has just 4.7 seconds to react, and most never do. But weapons are only half the story. The Raptor's real edge comes from how it sees the battlefield. Its AN/APG-77 V1 ASA radar can detect a 1-meter target at over 125 miles. Its radar warning receiver reaches beyond 250 miles, creating a bubble of awareness that feels like precognition. And then comes sensor fusion. Data from radar, infrared, satellites, even allied drones is fused into a single picture and projected directly into the pilot's helmet. It's like having the mind of a chess grandmaster and the vision of a god. Every move calculated before the enemy even thinks about it. The result? An aircraft that doesn't just launch missiles. It eliminates threats with machine-like certainty, often before opponents even know a fight has begun. But of course, no monster exists in a vacuum. And to truly understand what makes the F-22 terrifying, we have to see how it stacks up against the so-called rivals, China's J-20 and Russia's Su-57. On paper, China's J-20 Mighty Dragon looks impressive. Sleek design, stealth features, advanced avionics. Russia's Su-57 boasts maneuverability claims and next-gen weaponry. But here's the blunt truth. Against the upgraded Raptor, they're already obsolete. The J-20 may look the part, but its stealth profile and thrust-to-weight ratio fall far short of the F-22's ghost-like radar cross-section and raw engine power. More critically, China's pilots train mostly against simulations. America's train every single day against the world's most advanced jets, in live exercises that push limits no simulator can replicate. Russia's Su-57. Production numbers barely scrape double digits. Reliability issues plague its airframe and avionics. And when stacked against a fleet of 187 combat-tested Raptors, it's not even a contest. And then there's the F-35. Some call it the Raptor's rival, but in reality, it's the perfect complement. The F-22 dominates the skies, while the F-35 handles multi-role operations. Together, they form a layered dominance strategy that overwhelms enemy defenses. Here's the scorecard. J-20, still chasing U.S. technology. Su-57, limited production, questionable reliability. F-22, undefeated with 0 losses in over 100 combat missions. The conclusion? Rivals may talk about 5th-generation fighters, but the Raptor is already playing in another league. And that leads us to its most overlooked, but perhaps most devastating advantage. The psychological impact of fighting an enemy you can't even see. The F-22's greatest weapon isn't stealth, or speed, or even firepower. It's fear. Enemy pilots describe it like being hunted by a ghost. They know the Raptor is out there somewhere, but their radars show empty sky. Then suddenly, the lock-on warning screams in their cockpit, and it's already too late. This is psychological warfare at its purest. When F-22s train with special reflectors to appear on radar as large, slow aircraft, foreign intelligence services study those signals, building defensive strategies around fake signatures. Meanwhile, the real Raptors remain invisible. It's a mind game on a global scale, and the impact extends beyond the battlefield. Nations planning their air defenses know that 187 of these monsters are patrolling the skies, each more expensive than an entire foreign air force. The mere rumor of an F-22 deployment forces adversaries to shift strategies, reallocate resources, and admit a terrifying truth. You can't fight what you can't see. That psychological edge is worth billions, because wars aren't just fought with missiles, they're fought in the mind. But the story doesn't end here. The Raptor's legacy is already shaping tomorrow's air combat, and the question is no longer just what it can do, but how it will define the future of warfare itself. The upgraded F-22 isn't just dominating today's skies, it's writing the playbook for tomorrow's wars. In over 100 combat missions, not a single Raptor has been lost. 0. While rivals struggle to get prototypes off the ground, America's monster is already shaping tactics, doctrines, and the very psychology of modern air combat. This is more than stealth. More than missiles, more than thrust vectoring acrobatics. The Raptor's true legacy is the message it sends, that America is willing to invest billions to stay a generation ahead. For allies, it's reassurance. For adversaries, it's despair. And here's the part that rattles military planners worldwide. This is just the beginning. Behind closed doors, in classified hangars, engineers are already sketching the 6th and 7th generation successors that will push beyond even the Raptor's physics-defying feats. The F-22 isn't just a fighter jet, it's a statement, a symbol that the United States intends to dominate the air, today, tomorrow, and for decades to come. But maybe the most unsettling part is this. If the old Raptor was considered too advanced to mass produce, then what does that make this new one? So here's the question. Has the U.S. Air Force created the ultimate guardian of the skies? Or something so advanced it borders on breaking the rules of war? The Raptor's rebirth is built on stealth so perfect, it's like fighting a ghost. Speed that outruns its own sound waves, and maneuvers that defy the math of flight. Add in weapons that give enemies seconds, literally seconds, to react. And you begin to see why the F-22 isn't just feared. It's legendary. Maybe this upgrade cements America's dominance for decades. Or maybe, as drone swarms and AI-driven warfare evolve, the Raptor will one day look like a billion-dollar dinosaur. History has always judged these gambles harshly, until suddenly they change everything. But remember this, the F-22 was once considered too advanced to mass produce. Now it's back, more dangerous than ever. And the real story? The most powerful chapters are still classified. Because if you think the Raptor is terrifying, wait until you see what comes next. 6th generation stealth, 7th generation unmanned strike systems. The race for the skies is just beginning. Click the video on screen right now for our deep dive into the secret projects shaping the next generation of air dominance. Or jump into the breakdown of how hypersonic drones are already rewriting the rules of aerial warfare. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Should America keep investing billions into fighters like the Raptor? Or is the future all about drones and AI? Let's debate it, and I'll see you in the next one.